Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
what should people avoid while traveling to Europe? Don't rent a car if you're going to stay at a major capital. It's not worth it. It's much better to use public transport and get an occasional Uber. At the same time, I'd say not to be afraid to rent a car if the bulk of your trip is in more rural areas. European cities are awesome, but there are plenty of amazing experiences to be had in less populated areas that are hard to reach via public transit. One thing to remember is you will pay a fee if you drive from one country to another and don't drive back to return the car. For example, if you rent a car in Frankfurt, drive down through Switzerland and into Italy, you'll pay a hefty fee to return the car to Hertz or whatever in Italy. Best to drive around in the same country with a rental, then take the train between countries. At least that has been my experience. In major cities, don't let anyone hand you anything such as flowers or whatever. Once it is in your hands, they start asking for money. They even gave a flower to one of my kids and then wouldn't take it back. Just set it on the ground and walk away. In Florence, this guy was telling me he wanted to sell me a bracelet and I told him I didn't have in cash. He said it's fine, it's free, so he put it on my wrist and I started to walk away. He asked me for money and I told him that I didn't have any money. He asked for it back, so I gave it back. Jamaica, he walks up with a big smile and an outstretched hand to shake. Hi. Remember me? I'm your waiter from the hotel. Nice to see you again. Having a good time? Great. Look, I need a small favor. I lost my wallet. Can you lend me $10 just for now? I'll pay it back tonight at the hotel. What time you coming down for dinner? I'll look for you. I was in Naples once and we were eating at a restaurant that the table was sort of on the sidewalk. Some dude kept trying to get me to buy some jewelry and I kept telling him I didn't have any money. And didn't want anything anyways. He gave me this cool carved elephant and said he wanted me to keep it and then just walked away. It's still on my desk 10 years later. Had a girl in Athens hand me a flower. I told her right away I have no cash on me. I travel for work. I don't carry any cash. If I can't pay contactless, I go somewhere else. She stuck another one behind my ear and said it's a free gift because there is a festival today. Okay, cool. JPEG. She then started to gesturing a pregnant belly and asked for a little something for her baby. I told her again, as much as I would love to help her, I don't carry any cash. Her really sweet demeanor changed to a cold bitch face. She took both flowers back and went away without another word. Pretty funny TBH. Isn't it funny how offended scammers get by not being able to be a horrible person for once? I once had an Irish Garda hand me a rose as I was walking back from something. It was late evening and my first thought was, oh no, where is this going? Turned out he had found a discarded bunch nearby and was giving the roses away instead of putting them in the bin. Street scammers in Paris, anywhere really, I just mostly see it in Paris. Rome is pretty rampant with it too. While grabbing wine on a patio in Rome, we watched the police break up a scam ring in front of us. It was quite entertaining, especially after dealing with these schmucks all day trying to hustle you. We just sat, sipped wine and watched the fun. I've seen it in Paris, France, Barcelona, Florence. Any popular tourist destination is going to have pickpockets. These scams vary, and you should read about them before you go so you're aware. Some of the ones I've seen, people in costumes, mostly Roman centurions, will accost you for pictures with them, and demand an absurd amount of money for the pictures. People will shove an object or a flower into your hands and then demand money. You may have to very aggressively say, no. Someone will approach you with a map and ask for directions. Their accomplice is behind you while you're distracted and helping themselves to your stuff. Someone will lay out paintings on the ground near monuments like cathedrals. And when you inevitably step on one, because you're looking up at the Duomo, not at the ground, they'll demand an absurd amount of money for the painting you just stepped on. Basically, you just have to understand that if you're a tourist in a city, no one is going to have a good reason to talk to you. No one needs directions from you. No one needs a petition signature from you. Anyone trying to stop and talk to you in a major tourist destination is likely a scam. If you do get into a situation where someone is demanding money from you, maybe you stepped on a painting or took that ill-advised picture with the centurion, just say, okay, let's go find a police officer and I will pay you in front of the police officer. That usually gets them to back down quickly. You may have to be aggressive about not letting people touch you or put something on you. My husband had to yank his arm away from someone trying to tie a bracelet on him outside of Castel Sant'Angelo. I had to quickly move away from someone shoving a rose in my lap on the Spanish steps. And also, watch your stuff. Don't absent-mindedly sling your purse over the back of a chair. Don't leave your phone on the ground next to you while you have a picnic on the Seine. I have a black purse by PackSafe that has some anti-theft features. Like a lock so I can lock it to a chair at a cafe and a lock on the zipper so it can't be easily zipped open. Sure, a determined person could break into purse, But it's all about not being an easy target. It's enough of a deterrent that if someone does try to help themselves to the contents of my purse, it'll be too much trouble and they'll go pick someone else. That being said, don't let the fear of being pickpocketed deter you from traveling. Rick Steves has a story about a family that had their passports and thousands of dollars stolen from them immediately upon arrival in Amsterdam. And they still had an amazing trip. Just be aware, and have a plan in case the worst happens. And also, watch your stuff. Don't absent-mindedly sling your purse over the back of a chair. I did this on my first day in Bangkok. We were eating dinner and my tour guide came over to where I was sitting. And he was holding my purse. He asked if it was mine, and I said yes. Then he told me that he saw some guy take it but he was able to get it back before they left the restaurant with it. Turns out my guide was the guy who took it to teach me a lesson. He did this to a couple other people in our group to encourage us to be careful with our stuff. I spent the rest of the trip white-knuckling my purse so it worked for me.